Welcome back, team. I want to discuss the draw for a second here from outside the waistband. I've been noticing something happening to my draw, and I thought I would point it out because as I learn things and as I discover things, it's important that we have this conversation so that you maybe can discover similar things or fix similar things or encourage similar behaviors. So we want more of the right things, less of the bad things. One of the things that's been creeping up into my outside the waistband draw is tension in my shoulder, quite a bit of it, to the point where like just for me to find, and part of it is that I'm changing gear. I changed the belt several months back. I changed my holster a little bit ago. I love the gear, but I didn't pay attention to some of the things that were happening as a result of the uncomfortable change. All right. Okay, so this is what I've been noticing outside the waistband, and I noticed it quite a bit when I did handgun nationals, is that as I find my index on the gun, I am putting tension in the shoulder. I can feel it right now. Like I have, the shoulder's a little higher than it needs to be, and it's starting to tense up. Certainly under social pressure, time pressure, whatever, it's even more accentuated because whatever anxiety or stress or tension you feel, it only gets amplified by the stresses, right? The social pressure, the time pressure, all that stuff. So what have I noticed? So when I go grab my gun, that's when the shoulder should be up. But when I am not on the gun, where I am below the belt, or even if I'm going to be scooping, right? I need to find a way, and I don't know if you guys can tell as far as like, I mean, look myself. So this would be tense. This would be not. It really is about an inch higher. It feels like it. So this is me, like at limited optics. You can see how the shoulder's a little bit high, and I was feeling this tension here. And every time I would go to draw, because it gets amplified, I would have just slightly inaccurate draws. You know, probably out of the 16 stages, I would say about half of them felt like I had less than my optimal draw, and that's not okay. Because the draw exists to set up your grip. And if your draw is not great, the tension only gets worse and the grip suffers and the trigger finger suffers because everything is really tense. So this is what I have found. This is what I wanted to talk to you about is if your index points, whether it's the inside of your forearm onto the butt of your gun, whether you use your maybe one of your fingers on the holster, whatever it is that you're indexing, try to, and again, this is not for everybody. You may already have a really great draw and you have no issues. Or maybe you find that maybe even 25% of the times your draw gets a little bit wonky. And I believe it's because of this tension that we have in the shoulder on the dominant side. So whatever the index point it is that you have, fine. But don't allow your shoulder to get tense and raise. So even if I wanted to have, like, let's say my middle finger in the back of the holster, instead of having my shoulder up, I want to relax the shoulder, even though my index point might be on that spot. Even though my forearm may be on that spot, that doesn't mean it has to be a tense, like, ready to go. It can be a relaxed, ready to go, and then I can get the gun out very, very quickly. I believe, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physical therapist, I believe that if you start from a relaxed state, you can be more accurate with your twitch muscles. At least that's the way I find it. Again, there's no scientific that I know of. I didn't do research. I did not look this up, but maybe I will after this. I think that if you start from a relaxed state where like your hands are just kind of where they need to be, you are going to be possibly faster, but more importantly, more accurate with where your hands, your body parts are going. But if you start from a tense state, I believe you have to go to the relaxed state to then get back to where you want to go. So there's like a little bit of delay in time because you go from to like, oh, I gotta move. So there's like that little bit of delay in reaction. And then I don't think that you can be as accurate if you have a lot of tension. So what does that look like? This for me would be a tensed draw. Like I can feel all around my shoulder cap right here. I don't know what you call this. I feel tense and I feel like I can probably get a draw most of the time. But then you add the socials and time pressure and it gets a little bit funky. Sometimes you're a little short, a little bit high, whatever. And then I have to fix it on the way out, which costs me time. I for a fact, watching videos going, I know, I remember that feeling and going, this is not what I want. But I couldn't in the moment fix it. All right, so this and this. It's like my arm is in the same spot. I feel like I have the same index point in the same part of my arm, but one of them is very, not very, but it's tense in the place that I think it would accentuate all the bad things, and this would be more relaxed. And I would get just as fast or faster reaction time. In my opinion, I'd probably get a faster reaction time because I've been testing it. And I certainly get more accuracy. Doesn't mean you're going to nail every draw every time 100% of the time. No, but you're going to get the majority of what you've worked for if you start from that chilled out state. Now, does that mean that internally or mentally you're going to be completely calm and relaxed? No, but I think you can start with your muscle, your structure in a place where like, okay, even if I'm leaning, I don't have to be like this. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is raised, this is tense. It creates an uncomfortable, tense feeling. Or I can find the same spot and draw very, very aggressively, whether it's on the move or not, because I am managing this, right? So like how accurate my structure moves to the gun. So it's a conversation. It's not really a drill, but I definitely want you to experiment with it. If you're like, maybe look in the mirror. Like when you go sit up, are you like this? Like, are you, like, I don't know if you can tell the difference. I'll come real close. Like, are you this person that's like shoulders up? Like maybe if you really pay attention to where you're about to start, like you feel like it's already like a little bit engaged, or are you this person? Nothing's engaged up there in a negative way. And I can absolutely explode to the gun, and I feel like I am way, way more accurate if I don't do that. That, I mean, can still be very, very fast. Like I've said it before, slow is not smooth, smooth is not fast, none of that. Like you can be very clunky and be fast as crap, right? You can be really, really fast. But I think if you want a repeatable, accurate motion, you want to start from a more relaxed, more chilled out state instead of a tense state. So if you already have the very best draw and you're like, man, I'm a badass, my draw is 100% of the time perfect, cool, maybe this is not for you. But there will be a day, because I've had many and many months on all the platforms and all of my different locations where I draw from, where I'm like, draw is not a problem, my draw is savage, it's good to go. But then if things change, when things change, you ought to be able to find the solution, and I think this is going to be the first place you should be pointing to. If you're inside the waistband and you have a similar, like one of these guys, like you start, whether it's like hands relaxed but your shoulders are up, relax the shoulders, bring them down. If the shoulders are not sitting down on your body and they're like a little bit tense and raised away from your core, I feel like there will be more inaccuracy in the movement of your elbows, wrists, and hands. There it is. That's the consideration. Again, and even if I'm going to scoop, right? If I'm going to scoop, I don't want this. I want that relaxed state, and I want to be able to scoop very, very aggressively. But when I do it like this, where I'm a little bit closer to the gun, maybe it's like your gun is a little higher, and so you raise your shoulder because you want to be in a very specific spot. But this, I mean, I'm telling you, it's begging for inaccuracy in movement. I've experienced it myself. I want to pass that on to you before it becomes a problem for you. So go check it out. And as always, get after it.